Where's
You know the Lord loves Methodist too, right?
Absolutely. I know that for a fact.
We call a meeting to order of the Portland City Council. Its first regular meeting for the month of August 2014. We're honored to have with us tonight Brother Brandon Petty from the Generation Church. At this time, would you stand?
Grateful for the opportunity to lead everybody in prayer tonight. Let's just all pray. Father God, we thank you so much for this opportunity, God, to continue to make our community better. Lord, I pray for our city leaders and God, for church leaders in this community, Lord, for us to work together to continue to better our city, make it a place that families can grow strong, continue to grow in their relationships and in their faith. God, I thank you for the opportunity to serve this city and to be a part of what's going on here in Portland, Tennessee. God, I pray that influence and favor continue to follow these leaders wherever they go. And as they meet and as they discuss, God, and as they plan, God, that everything would be to better this city and this community and the families that live in it. Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Brother Petty, for all you do and for the community, and appreciate you being here tonight. We're going to do the agenda just a little bit different tonight. Before we get into the business of the meeting, we're honored tonight to have with us some state champions. We was very fortunate in some of our youth sports this year to have some state champions, and so we're going to recognize them tonight with certificate of recognition. So at this time, I'd ask the girls team to go ahead and come forward, the coaches and the girls, and line up here if you would.
Hey, girl.
Like I say, we're honored to have them with us tonight, and hear the coaches. I'll let you kind of explain what y'all accomplished this year, and introduce everybody.
I guess I'll start by introducing the girls here. This is Sarah Spencer, Kenzie Dover, Madison Fitzgerald, Elizabeth Thurrett, Matt Malagrizzle, Lily Dunbar, Madison Wallace, Brianna Machinsky, Skylar Jordan, Lexus Creekmore. This is Rowan Bendor, Kelsey Wims. Coach is Jill Wallace, Ronnie Durrett, Josh, and Michael Oak. Girls won the USFA state championship over in Martin, Tennessee. Had 10 other teams in there, and won our last game 11-10 over Georgia. They played hard the whole time. Always been in. We played four tournaments all together, and only team that ever beat them was Goodlettsville, and we kind of got them in the state.
Well, congratulations, and we appreciate all that y'all done. We want to present you with certificate of recognition, and let's give all these fine young ladies. We're very proud of you and all you've done. You've got a great start and great things to expect to do down the road.
What age group is the ladies? What age group is that? From what to what?
This is a 6U. It's usually 4 to 6.
4 to 6, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Made us proud.
I do want to thank all the people, all the parents that helped. We got Ricky back here. He's over at Dixie, and they showed us a lot of support, and all of Portland really showed a lot of support as far as fundraising, helping us get to where we needed to be. So I want to take that time to thank all of them for helping too. I want to thank y'all for allowing us to come in here and recognizing the girls for their accomplishment.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Y'all want to get a picture or whatever? Y'all want to get a picture with them? Y'all can scoot up right here. Scoot up and make sure the picture. Right there, that's good. I know some of the parents want to get
Give me slide that either way. Ronnie. Yeah.
Get in there with them.
Going 90.
Yeah, if all y'all want to come.
I've got 200, so I can't break it.
I'm not talking about a copy. Picture with the girls.
What? Y'all get a picture.
Thank you very much.
All right, girls. Now the back row girls kind of hug up together. Y'all, just do this one nice. Catch yourself. Can you get it? Ready, girls? Be smiling. Everybody smile. Keep going. Okay, ready?
Girls, y'all look at the TV camera and wave up there. You're on TV.
You're on TV.
Thanks for your patience. I used to coach one of those teams a little older, so it takes a lot of patience.
It does. It's fun.
Yeah. You're right. My son's 40, and that he was 10 years ago. They probably don't use the same ball anymore, dude.
Yeah, I give $175 for home was the last bat. I don't even know where it was. They said that was a cheap one. How's it going? Not too bad. He's trying to dump me off the side of the road. Give me this side some room.
We're proud to have another team here with us that also are state champions. I'll let the coach introduce them and explain their ages, kind of what they accomplished and all that.
Okay. We'll start off with the introduction. This is Jackson Collier. Step up, Jackson. This is Isaiah Patton. This is Braden Callis. Kay Brooks. JJ Shrum. Caden Lane. Brody Sanders. Colton Sanders. Tristan Napier. Lane Bruce. Jack Kirchhoff. And Evan Brown. These kids are all 5-6-year-olds. We won a sub-state championship, won a district championship, and a state championship. And one thing in the state championship, we went to the first day, won one game. Second day we lost our first game. We had to come back all day Saturday and play all day Saturday and make a championship game on Sunday, which was a big accomplishment for these kids because it was 90 degrees all day, and they stuck it out and they got their trophy.
Congratulations.
Your assistant coaches?
This is Cole Collier, this is Corey Lane, and Chase Brooks is not here. He's at football practice.
Thank you.
Well, again, congratulations on all your accomplishments and young boys. Thank you for all you do and the way y'all represented Portland. Heard a lot of good comments. And not only was you good on the field, but boys and girls both can say they were great off the field. You did great sportsmanship. Everybody appreciated y'all being around. And I don't know if the council like to say anything, but
Congratulations.
Good job.
Good job.
I think they like to get up their pictures and they want to line up.
That's over here in
And all the council get here behind them if they want to.
They want to take one by themselves, and then we'll get behind them for another one.
Colton, switch your JJ.
Can't see Evan in. And they eating in the back. Maybe the one should be on. Braden is.
You're on the front row. Sit on your
Drop down on your knee.
You're on the front row. There you go. Good job.
There you go. Somebody will have.
Get that way.
All right, I'll stay.
That's where you're at.
Let all the council.
Don't move. Stay careful.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Coach B.
Slow pitch, coach.
The coach pitch, okay. I should know what I am. There's a T-ball better than that.
Well, when we were playing, they didn't even have that.
Well, yeah.
Well, again, congratulations, young people. And we're very
Guys, wave at the camera up here. See the TV camera, wave at it. Say hi, Grandma.
I gotta say thank you.
T-ball.
Appreciate everybody's patience. I think it's great that we have those kind of young people and coaches and parents in our community, and congratulate them for all they accomplished and all they do for our area. Okay, we'll get started. Roll call, Ms. King.
Alderman Bratton.
Here.
Alderman Callis.
Here.
Alderman Harbin. Alderman Jenkins.
Here.
Vice Mayor McDowell.
Here.
Alderman Menace. Alderman White.
Here.
All right, thank you. Next, we need approval of the minutes of the council meeting July the 7th and July the 21st. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any comments to the minutes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we need approval agenda. I do have some add-ons. So if we can, a motion, get it on the floor.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Want to add on Resolution 14-111, which is due with the airport. Resolution 14-112, which is due with our drainage project on the industrial park. Then another resolution out in front of you discussing public works will be 14-113, will be a water adjustment for Mr. Cole. And then want to add on the end, and we'll do all these at the end, a discussion of visual aid for here at City Hall meetings. Does anyone have anything else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next we have some public hearings. Oh, and also, I think I mentioned, but we didn't, we have one deferral on the agenda, which will be explained right now, is ordinance 14-29. We wish to defer that, but we want to go ahead and have a public hearing on it, which is a public hearing for ordinance providing for the levy of all property, personal, ad valorem taxes for the city of Portland for 2014. We've had the first reading and have set the rate according to the new appraisals. Of course, there has been some discussion that appraisal may or may not change, so we feel like we just need to hold on the second reading. But we'll go ahead and take any public comments at this time if anybody would have. Anyone wish to make any comments on?
Executive session.
All right, then the ordinance 14-30 is the ordinance amending ordinance 13-32, an educational reimbursement for the personnel policy of the city of Portland. All right, anyone wish to make a comment on ordinance 14-31, an ordinance approving a contract between the city of Portland, Tennessee, Department of Environment Conservation for a grant for the preservation of the Moy Greenhouse. Anyone wish to make a comment? Next, ordinance 14-32, an ordinance approving a contract between the city of Portland, Tennessee Department of Transportation to pave College Street from east of Line Drive to Bonnie Drive. This will be through STP funds. Anyone wish to make a comment? Next, be ordinance 14-33, an ordinance authorizing adoption of job description for the position of Director of Airport Operations for the city of Portland. And the last ordinance 14-34, an ordinance authorizing a contract between the city of Portland and Sampson Equipment Company for the purchase of a Vector Jet vac truck for the city of Portland wastewater department. Anyone wish to make any comments on any of these?
Mayor, I realize this is a public hearing. I've actually had several people call me about that, but I'll save it for the when we actually read the ordinance.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. McDowell. All right. If not, public hearings will be closed. I think I failed to mention when we was talking about the agenda, immediately following the council meeting, we need to move to executive session for discussion with attorneys of we have two different attorneys with us tonight for some lawsuits that are pending in the city. So as soon as the council meeting over, we need to adjourn to the back conference room. Next, you had your reports. Do we have a motion to approve the reports?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments on the reports? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have communication from Mayor and Alderman. Does any Alderman wish to address anything to the public tonight?
I just wondered if, and some may be watching tonight, and an update maybe on Alderman Menace, if we have any things are going.
Mr. Menace is having a tough time with his health right now. He was in the hospital this past weekend, but weekend before, and he's been going for his test and some things. So we just need to really remember him. We just need him in our prayers. They're really going through some tough time right now. We really need to remember them. So.
Thank you, Mayor.
I was going to also say that I'd read some comments online the other day about one of our businesses in town closing. And sometimes the city seems to get a bad rap when that happens. One of the gas station, Swifty, on the south end of town, I noticed it's been boarded up and closed, and just want to make everyone aware that that company, I think, actually sold out and went belly up. Company-wide, it wasn't anything unique to the city of Portland. So some of the other cities, they've been bought out now and changed to something new, and hopefully that one will do that also.
Right, yeah, it wasn't isolated here. It was a company-wide situation.
The owner died, I think is what it was.
Yeah, actually what happened, I've spoken with them. The owner was 90+ years old, and he passed away, and it was in his will that all of his properties be sold and the money be divided to the heirs, and that was said publicly to me.
Yeah, I said they went belly up. I didn't
Yeah.
mean it like that sounded, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It was,
I mean, I actually called about the property, and they actually selling all the properties. And it's actually, since MAPCO's not open, it makes it kind of difficult on the
Yes, it
south end of
does.
town to purchase gas right now.
Yeah, but we've got 2 started, so.
Yeah.
right.
And also, we'll make the public aware, here at City Hall on August the 26th and 27th, for anyone wish to sign up for the tax freeze program, there will be people here from the county on those 2 days, August the 26th and 27th, for the tax freeze program.
What does it take to qualify for that, Mayor?
You need to call the county, a certain age, certain income, there's 2 or 3 different things for the criteria for it, so.
I wonder if it would be all right if maybe for us here at the city,
I
if
know
we
you
could
got
get
the
that
65.
criteria, and then maybe have copies available, that if we could get that from the county and our local residents
I think
could come
Laura's
in
got
unless
it.
they
Do we
already
have
that.
our pamphlets on that?
I don't know if she's giving us that day.
I've had a couple of people
I knew we did.
ask me about it, and I couldn't
I
tell.
wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, we can get you a copy of the pamphlets.
And so just based on that, if anybody's interested in tax freeze and it's based on income and those things, be calling City Hall and maybe they'll get you some information, be looking online, and we'll have it as well, and so you'll be able to know whether you can sign up or not those days.
All right. Does anyone else have anything? Okay, if not, we have a period of public recognition. If anyone in the audience would like to address the council with the item on the agenda, I ask you to do so at this time. Would anyone like to address the council with the item on the agenda? Okay, if not, we will get into the business. We've already had our recognition. Next, we'll go to Public Works. Alderman Bratton.
This
first item.
ordinance 14-3/4, it's the second reading in ordinance to establish a contract between the City of Portland, Tennessee and Samsung Equipment Company for a purchase agreement of a 2100 plus Vector Jet Vac truck for the City of Portland Sewer Department. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, have a second. I think, Mr. McDowell, you want to?
Yes, sir, there had been some comment about the cost, and I think I've asked these questions before, just to further explain, so there's no misunderstanding of this. We're having to purchase this vehicle, which will pay payments on it for the year, and also hire 2 employees to operate that. And off the top of your head, Mr. Yeagle, do you know what the total cost per year is for
Yeah,
that?
well,
All of that, at the end of the day, employees and all?
When we originally put this all together, we looked at the debt service on it, the operators, 2 operators, insurance, fuel, and maintenance. Now, it depends on how we go about the finance, and in this ordinance, we said not to exceed 5 years, not to exceed 3%. We have bids at 2.35, I think, on it, so we have a lot lower interest rate, or 2.36, either through a lease, and then we have local banks also that bid on it. We have another option, I just got it late today, that we could actually do it on a 6-year with a 3-year lock and then 3 more years. In 3 years, we don't know what the interest rate is, but we anticipate, based on the economy, that it'd be still rather low. We could get a 2% for the first 3 years and then take our chances on the last 3 years and pay it off in 6 years. Reason we had chose to do a 5-year was this particular piece of equipment in the company has a 5-year buyback program. What that means is they'll give you roughly 50+% if you want to upgrade to a new vehicle as a buyback. So obviously, what we studied this and looked at it, this is a piece of equipment that's going to be operating all the time, or needs to be operating all the time. That's why we're staffing it and everything to do that. So in 5 years, if we're starting to have maintenance issues on it, we could actually go back and get another one and get 50% trade-in value on this one. So it had a very nice option there. Plus, all the items we looked at on it, and Brian did a lot of research and visited 2 different locations that had them. And of course, I think the City of Franklin, City of Clarksville were the 2 locations. City of Franklin actually had operated the 2 different ones we were looking at, And they said this one was by far the superior performer via maintenance, uptime, and all the way through. Plus, there's a safety issue, in my opinion, with the other one because of confined space as far as clean out. So this particular truck was by far the most desirable from all those aspects. Our total cost, we had it set at about annualized cost of $155. If we actually go with this 5-year plan, it'll be about $175 with debt service. Our first year savings that we could really sort of isolate and built into the budget numbers that we did, I put them in there if you remember, is about $208,000. Now, a big part of that is the clean out of the lagoons. Now that'll be a process, so once we do the 2 lagoon clean outs that we've got, we'll rotate each year, doing 1 lagoon a year. So that's about $45,000-$50,000 per lagoon. And this truck will allow us to do that, which is an issue that I think they haven't been cleaned out in 4 or 5 years, 3 years? 3 to 4 years. So, you know, that's an issue for us and it's getting fairly critical. The other items that it'll do, and some of the cost it's harder to quantify, is once we do a preventive program, which in essence here you're cleaning out your lift stations and all that, you know, not when it's an emergency, you're cleaning them out and I'm making the system operate and flow a whole lot better. You really have a hard time knowing how much additional money you're going to save doing that because, you know, when you don't incur the cost because of non-breakage and extended life, you know, it's hard to quantify that. But we are taking control of the system is what we're saying by using this truck. So, you know, you'll have a cleaner, better flowing system. Also, it should help us downstream at the waste treatment plant. So our savings first year, 208. If we take 40 out, it's about, over the 5 years, the cost savings versus the cost is about a break even. So it's about a 5-year payback. So at the end of 5 years, of course, then it's still worth, you know, $175,000 to us on trade-in if we want to do that.
At a minimum.
At a minimum. Yeah, I think the Franklin truck was 58%?
57.
57, okay. So
So it's about a 5-year payback to break even on it. And
you know,
is it-
which means you're not going to incur any additional cost
Than what we're paying now.
than what you're paying now for the next 5 years. The upside of all that is you have control of your system, you'll have a cleaner system, better flowing system.
And actually, after 5 years, if you decide to go back with the same truck, that's when you will get into savings.
Because to purchase a new truck, obviously you're gonna get
You buy it
50%
for half.
value of the other one, you only have to pay basically half price.
And is it a, have you taken into consideration the cost for dumping whatever you fill that machine with?
Well, we talked about
That
that
material
issue
we
will
can
go
accept ourselves at the sewer plant.
sewer plant, yeah. So it's just going to go through the system as it normally would.
It's materials that would break loose and get there 10 years later or whatever later. It's materials that's already in the system.
So there's no further cost to us to dump the product?
No.
Say we don't replace the thing till 7, 8 years, will they give us 30%, 40% buyback at that point, or?
No.
They don't have a
We have
buyback.
to do it at 5 years?
Yeah, they don't have a buyback program. However, in listening and conversation with them, they're readily movable. Meaning, you know, we talked about used ones, and they said they're gone before they even get traded in. So it is something that you're seeing. Obviously, all the large towns have, and that we're looking at too. But these machines move real quick. So, you know, if 7 years we still had, you know, a good truck and wanted to upgrade, I imagine we can move it pretty quickly.
Got to think too, at that 5-year point, we may be able to sell it ourselves and not trade it back and get 60, 70% out of it.
Anything's possible. But
I mean, if they're that desirable, if there's a waiting list.
Demands
for them.
on it.
And the
Yeah.
other valued thing about this individual truck with the company that we're looking at
Going with, if we decide to do that, they actually, at no cost, will send somebody up here monthly to go through your machine and to make sure every single month that we're meeting the appropriate requirements for the buyback program. And if there's anything that we're not doing, they'll make recommendations. But due to that program, if we keep up with their recommendations, they're gonna give us
the money.
they guarantee you a minimum of 50%.
Just point of order. The people at home is driving crazy for us looking over here and they can't hear you. I appreciate your comments. If you're gonna make those comments, if you will come up where that they can see you, because at home they just self-started and they don't hear any of your comments. If you will, you can, yeah. because they can't, and all they see is looking in the back, and they're like, what's going on in the back and who they're talking to.
And now they get a good shot of the back of the line.
Yeah, well, at least they know who it is.
But to answer your question, yeah, with the 5-year buyback program, you're guaranteed at least 50% of it. If we do decide to do something on our own, as Doug mentioned, these trucks are considerably desirable. Vector has over 50% of the market, and so they have a high resale value. And that's where we really look into it. We're getting a 50%, or we're paying for itself in 5 years. Then after 5 years is when you will actually see the cost reductions in things, because if we do decide to go and buy another truck, which I imagine we would, we'd only be paying back not the full note. We'd get something back on the return for the initial truck and then use that as a down payment towards a new one.
And Brian, I'm not by any means trying to sound negative
No,
against
no.
the idea of it. It's just been some, I know we had public hearing on it and nobody showed up to it, but sometimes it's difficult for folks to get out like that. But, they did have some reasonable questions to
Well,
ask.
I just want to make sure, and Doug and Thomas and I have discussed this, and Steve Whitehead was with us as well. We went and talked to many different communities on the phone, and also just to go make visits as well, to make sure with a purchase of this magnitude, you need to make sure that you've got the right background behind it and that it is going to do what it say it does. And so we looked at different types of equipment. There was also one when we were in Chattanooga, different equipment. I didn't see the machine there, but they had brochures, asked some background information, and there are safety issues associated with the Vector over the other trucks that make it more desirable. There could be workman's comp claims. Again, these are funds that these are things that come into play, workman's comp claims and things like that, that it's hard to quantify exactly how much we would spend on that. But if you were to purchase a different type of truck, you could have some issues associated with it, with trying to keep up with the maintenance that you have to have with this truck.
I think y'all done outstanding research on it. I don't believe the actual the choice is the question. It's just how many years have we been doing this type clean out service? Has this been going on for a while in the city?
We have typically always, in fact, we had some guys up here 2 weeks ago. We had a major grease blockage right behind the Portland Leader, and that would have been a perfect example for this truck to come up, and that was something that was used for. We've got another blockage right over here, and that we're going to have to call a truck up for that. So once we get this truck in service, this is something that we can take care of ourselves. And the other thing that it really helps us with is with the commissioner's order and everything that we're under right now, it puts us driving the boat. It puts us in charge of that, to where there's another cost associated there where they're not looking at. As far as engineering fees, when we hire a firm to come up here and to give us an idea of what sewer improvements need to be made, it gives them a large scope. They don't know exactly where to look. They've got to do investigations first. With this truck, we can drive the boat, we can do our own investigations and make their scope smaller, and that by making their scope smaller, their fees are going to be less. Instead of looking at an area 3 miles, they can look at a half a mile or a quarter of a mile area, which will cut down on the amount of money we spend in design fees. So there's a lot of different areas where you can have savings associated with it.
Yeah, the key thing is this is a proactive approach as opposed to a reactive. Like you were talking about, we had to call somebody in because it clogged up. And we have that all the time, sort of an emergency call-in type thing. In this case, once we get through the system the way we plan on it, you should be going through and checking it. I won't say you won't ever have a clog, but for the most part, you should have already addressed most of your issues before they become bigger issues.
And this happens so often that the way we were able to come up with the numbers to get an idea about how, if we could afford this or not, was just going by historical data, looking at the past years of what we spent on cleaning the lagoons out, hiring jet vac truck operators to come up here and work late night hours and overtime hours. We put in the guys actually to physically try to rod a line, to whereas there have been lines that I've heard that they've been here working 16 hours trying to get one unclogged, to where this will shorten that amount of time, and it also, again, gets rid of some workman comps claims that can happen from trying to pull those jammed rods in a line back out. So the historical data and what we have spent in the past is what we were able to base our dollar figure amount on as to whether or not we could afford this.
Now, the one thing this thing will do also is it will probably point to projects that we need to do a lot quicker. Meaning we're going to find more issues out there, buried lines that are offset, or issues like that will come up because now we're going to be finding them a lot quicker, as opposed to waiting for to totally clog up and we have to do something. We're going to know about it and try to you know, bring those up quicker. So
We're
you
gonna
will
be
have
able-
some money that way.
We're gonna be able to use this as well to unblock, the drainage.
Storm drain
as
pipe?
well,
Storm drain
as well.
pipe.
So that's another plus, see, by
Right.
getting the flow going. We've had backup as an area, then we can start doing this. So these two men on this truck are not just doing, you know, one or two things. There's multiple things this truck's gonna be doing throughout the city that I think will pay for itself.
Yeah, and our intention, the way we looked at it, was that this is such an investment. That thing needs to be on the road 5 days a week, 40 hours a week plus. It needs to get used.
I agree.
And that was what our.
And one other area we hadn't touched on was cut in of lines in
Yes, the
areas that are very
cut-ins.
difficult.
Mhm. Yeah, in areas where we have tight utilities, like right now, right behind us, they put in all the fiber optics, and they put in so many fiber optics that they can't even locate them all. And so we've got utilities in that area, such as water lines and sewer lines. If we ever have a major break right there, we have no way of actually getting down and making sure that we don't hit one of those fiber optic lines, because they can't even locate where they are. You go out there and get a locate on it, you got orange paint from 20 foot over here to 30 feet over there. So, I mean, that's not very useful to us. But with this piece of equipment, you can use the hydro excavator, which is just like a wand at your car wash, and you can spray it out and actually visibly get on it. It won't actually cut through the lines, and then we can actually see if we can make the repair.
So all of y'all feel comfortable that in 5 years from now, you'll be able to prove to us that this was a benefit for us to do this?
I think we'll prove it
Yes.
to you within a year.
I'd say in 5 years, we'll be very happy we got it, because we'll be able to make some much-needed improvements to our sewer system. And by improving our sewer system, we'll be able to help Portland grow and improve what's going on at the sewer plant.
Satisfied me.
Thank you, Brian.
No problem.
Thank you.
And for the people that's not aware, this is Brian Price, and the people's not met him. He's the city engineer. He's not a salesman. He actually works for us.
Yeah, I work for the city.
The recommendation is coming from my engineer.
You should go to work for them now, though.
Yeah, I've talked to enough of them.
And the thing that I was not concerned with, but they resolved my issues about 2 employees that's gonna be trained and designated to use this piece of equipment that's $350,000, so that we're not gonna have just every individuals that want to utilize it. I know they'll probably train others, but that's key. And that's key for us actually getting that 50% at the end of the 5 years, is that we maintain it, so.
Well, it's a pretty good sized purchase, and I can understand.
Oh,
what
I
you're saying on it.
Well, yeah, and with the, but this is I'm really proud that we're looking at doing this, and this is like Doug or one of them said, is being proactive. We've been involved in the system. There's just regular cleaning and things that need to be done that'll help the flows, prevent backups, being able to vacuum the pump stations, or, you know, pump change-outs will be less, you know, the wear and tear on the pumps and so forth. So you're going to see a lot of those costs increase as time goes. It's savings, it's hard to really put, but you'll get better wired stuff out of your pumps and lines and so forth. So I think it's really a forward and proactive move for this council to do that.
I had nothing
We
further.
got behind us, Patricia, we made a motion.
Yes, we have. It's,
Well, motion, okay.
Has anybody else got any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 14-105, it's a resolution to hire Joe Hargis as a full-time sanitation employee. Mr. Hargis is actually currently working part-time with the city. Superintendent of Public Works recommends this individual, said he's been a good employee, and apparently hasn't missed any days, which is commendable. So I'll make a motion to approve this
Second.
hire.
We have a motion, I have a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The next item is...
And Mr. Hargis is here, anybody right there. So.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
The next resolution is 14-83. It's a resolution authorizing the city utility office to implement a one-time 24-hour temporary service fee of $50 for turning on and off residential services. Make a motion to approve and not with explanation.
Have a motion, do we have a second? Have a second?
Sure. This is something that was brought to my attention, and I was asked staff to look at. Currently, there's no program for individuals, home inspectors, appraisers. If a person's going to sell their home, just about every home now requires natural appraisal and a home inspection, and the utilities have to be on. In the past, they had to actually set it up as if that person was going to actually just have a regular service. This is going to be only for 24 hours, and staff has been working with this, tweaking this over the course of the last month or so. and they think they have it tweaked to where there'll be very little liability on the city, but basically, they can pay the $50, we'll go out and turn it on, and at the end of the day, we'll turn it off. And this is only gonna be during normal working hours, Monday through Thursday.
And it turns on all the services, gas and water both.
Well, as I understand it, is that, so we're
Separate.
dealing with,
Yeah,
Ms.
it's-
Christie, you help me with this.
It's $50 for each service, gas and water, and we'll do it on Fridays, but we won't give weekend service. So we'll cut it off same day on Friday if they need it done on a Friday. If anything over a minimum bill, we'll bill them.
And that was a concern that we had once before. I appreciate you guys looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some concern about the liability. I think they've looked at it, there's always liability, but I think they try to minimize our liability in doing this service for the realtors and for homeowners.
Yeah, we have a note in there that we're not responsible for any damages, and they'll have to sign a sheet stating that also, that they're aware of it.
They're supposed to also be present for the cut-on.
Yes.
That's why we can have them sign that liability waiver.
Yes.
And typically what they do, because they're gonna have to pay this money, typically they will time it so that the appraiser, the home inspector, everyone will actually visit the home during that short period of time so that they won't have to pay additional fees.
Anybody else got any questions or comments?
I didn't actually read that resolution in detail. I've seen the caption of it. It actually does specify in there that it's 50 per each of those services?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And it lists on the cap as far as 5 cubic feet of natural gas and 2,500 gallons.
Yeah, so somebody couldn't turn it on and fill a swimming pool for
Right.
$50.
Right.
Right.
Or they'll pay.
They'll pay for it.
Right. Gotcha.
All right, any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, and as I understand it, would be Resolution 14-113. It was add-on.
No. Okay, I was gonna do all those at the end, but if you wanna go ahead and do it now.
No,
that's fine.
that's fine. Just move it back. You're gonna,
Yeah. I'll
okay, we'll
do all-
still
all
here.
we'll just
add
pass on that then.
All at the end.
I'll let you handle that, Mayor, anytime. The next item is discuss a letter of explanation for bid acceptance of Resolution 14.98. This was something that we discussed in Public Works. I think the initial language was at the low bid, and I think they've determined that the low bid is not the best bid. And Mayor, you want to discuss it or have Thomas
I'll
or
let.
Yeah, I was going to.
Doug, whoever?
What it was, in the bid document, it actually said, or comparable, and we had a comparable, or what they thought was a comparable bid at about $100 per unit less. We were trying to standardize on a particular one, which was the Mini-Max, and I think, and Thomas, you can come to the podium and jump in any time. But the issue really was, it wasn't comparable enough that it was deemed an exception, so that's why when we brought the bid to you, and it wasn't the lowest bid, and that's why we wanted to inform you at this point. But it is still probably the best bid in the fact that it is comparable equipment that we want to standardize throughout, as far as the correctors go. It is our, but our need to inform y'all of that situation.
So there's no action, you just.
No action, it's just
my
informing,
information.
unless y'all deem action necessary.
Is it gonna cost us any money?
No. All right, thank you, Mr. Bratton.
Thank you.
We don't have anything on our Parks and Rec. Did, Vice Mayor, anything out of public safety to discuss or not?
No, sir, I think we added the actual, from our tech committee at the end of the meeting, so.
Under legislative, the first ordinance 14-29, we're deferring that.
I know we did. Can we just go back to that just for a moment? There was, once again, I know this is such a difficult topic because it sounds like there's a tax increase. What we're doing is putting in place what the county tells us to do because it's an equalization year. And so if Doug could re-explain that for us, because I've had a lot of people say, oh, wait a minute, they've seen some reports and all these things. And so could you explain that to us again?
Yeah, what it is, in a reappraisal year, they take all the reappraisals and compare it to the prior year same properties to determine did your valuations go up or down on a percentage. In this case, our valuations went down. to equalize out the property tax revenue for the city. They call it an equalization rate, and it's actually the state equalization board sets that and gives it to us. They tell you this is the rate that you are to charge to equalize the taxes for the city. Now, individually, it can impact you. Taxes can go up, they can go down, or they can stay the same. But the composite of the group should equalize for the city. So if we were getting $3 million, we would still get $3 million. It may come from somebody's different pockets, just depending, and that's why I think I encouraged anybody at one point in time, if they had a concern about it, they needed to speak with the assessor's office and challenge their appraisals. But that time has passed. Now, the reason we were deferring, obviously, I guess I also said, to me, this is not us taking action to raise taxes. We're just equalizing out. I think it was stated that I stated that we couldn't lower them. We can take action to lower or raise on our volition. This is just what the state is telling us, that is the equalization, and we can accept it. You know, we could say, well, we don't want to accept it, we want to lower taxes. We, in essence, would be saying we'd want to go below the equalization rate and reduce taxes. Or we could say we want to raise taxes. Like last year, we had a tax increase and an equalization. If you remember, we raised taxes 7 cents, and then we had an equalization because of the Robertson County reappraisal of a penny, made it 118. So that's how that process works. But the reason we're deferring it at this point is we wanted to be in position so that we can react quickly, but there's still too many things up in the air that we haven't heard the answer to, at least a feasible or plausible one to know which way it's going to go, so that we can't want to do second reading at this point. So we've had first reading, we've got the public hearing out there. If nothing changes, then in one meeting we can pass the rate and get everything to the state so that we can generate tax bills and hopefully be out by October 1. You know, that's what we're trying to do so that we don't defer the billing getting out by October 1 and start collecting.
You know, one of the challenges is, and I know there's some that are going to the state asking to take a look at the county's appraisal situation.
Mm-hmm.
The county changed to a different software, and some others did those, and it appears that those who have changed to that software encountered maybe some difficulty there. And I don't know what the solution will be, and some have suggested maybe having the state call to just go back to last year's rate, give us a year to get everything together, because I don't think there's time to do a reappraisal between now and October 1st, and so we're kind of in a bind. We need to know what our cards need to be to mail out, and so just to let people know, this is the rate that we have been mandated to set based on last year's revenue. And we're waiting to do second reading to make sure, in case the state comes back and keep us from going over a bunch of stuff. So hopefully somebody will settle something quickly for us.
We don't want to set a rate and then turn around and have a change and do 2 readings to amend it. But, you know, and when we say the state mandates, the state is telling us this is the equalization rate to accept, and it's usually been foregone conclusion that is the rate you accept. You can choose not to go that rate if you want to, but you will reduce your overall taxes. So in essence, that's choosing to do a tax decrease. Or you can go above it only if you do a separate ordinance to establish a rate increase, which we did last year. So we are in position now to react as quickly as we can to whatever comes down the pipe. But as far as what's been coming out of it recently, the last I heard through the assessor's office was additional information was required by the state to evaluate. That had been, when it was provided, the state would give us an answer of what actions they were going to pursue. At this point, I haven't heard that, so until I hear that, I would not really want to bring this back in to pass. So,
thank you, Doug.
And then one of the other options that may come out of this, if nothing changes, Mike, is just talking about the software and all that, is the county may be asking to do another appraisal in a shorter period of time than a normal period of time, just to try to get it more to what they feel would be accurate. So those are some options that are out there for future times. All right, anyone else have anything on the subject? All right, next be ordinance 14-30, the second reading of ordinance to amend ordinance 13-32, section 618 of the educational reimbursement program of the personnel policy of the city of Portland. Do we have a motion to get it on the floor?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any comments or questions? We went over this pretty detailed last time. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, the ordinance 14-31. It's an ordinance approving a contract between the City of Portland, Tennessee Department of Environment Conservation to the Tennessee Historical Commission for grant funds for preservation of the Moyd Greenhouse. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
This is for a grant of $20,000 with $8,000 grant, $12,000 grant, $8,000 local match, and that was in the budget. Does anyone have any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have second reading of ordinance 14-32, an ordinance approving a contract between the City of Portland and the Tennessee Department of Transportation to pave College Street from east of Line Drive to Bonnie Drive. Do we have a motion to get it on the floor?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
This will be done with STP funds. This is a certain amount of funds we get every year through state and federal. It's based on a population, and this money can only be used in certain areas, certain road types, or certain projects we've done. Like last time, STP money was used for the signalization at Kirby Road and 109. Used to, you could let it build up for 3 or 4 years, or 2 or 3. Now they want you to spend it every year. And so we have some paving needs to be done on College Street, and that road does categorize into the area that is acceptable. So this is approving a contract to move on with that project. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have ordinance 14-33. It's also saying an ordinance authorizing adoption of job description for the position of Director of Airport Operations for the City of Portland.
So moved.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have resolution 14-106. This is a resolution pursuant to authority granted by the Tennessee Code Annotated for the rules which authorize appropriation of financial aid for nonprofit charitable organizations whose services benefit the general welfare of the residents of municipalities. So in our budget this year, we had our organizations that we're going to give money to, our nonprofits, and so the list of those is on the next page, totaling $79,925, which is Portland Preservation Society, Portland Cares, Sumner County Vietnam Veterans Chapter, Senior Citizens, Cumberland Human Agency, Chamber of Commerce, and the library. Do we have a motion to get it on the floor?
So moved.
Have a second? Have a second? Is there any comment or questions on the charitable donations? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm
Opposed?
going to abstain from that one. I'm a part of the Preservation Foundation and president of the chamber this year, so if you'll notate that, please.
Okay. Next, we have ordinance 14-35, ordinance adopting a contract between the City of Portland and Tennessee Department of Transportation for the construction of state industrial access roads serving Hatch Stampings. Do you have a motion to get it on the floor?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Second. This is a road that will be funded through a state industrial access road, but we are the avenue where it comes, and this will be going from Vaughn Drive between Gas Tide and Old House and back to the new industry, which has been located there. This will be served with the SIA funds for this road. Any comments or questions?
Who applies for that?
We do. The city has to be through the local.
I mean, somebody had to request it, I guess, right?
Yes, the developer requested, and the industry developed the road there to them. So. It'll be called Jaybird Drive, be a new road. So.
And in the past, typically the developer has paid whatever percentage that the state did not pay. So there's no...
This road has been done at SIA. What you're thinking about is what they call fast track
Okay.
grants.
Okay, this
and
is
there
different.
may be some of that coming, and then typically a developer does pay for it.
Okay.
But this is pretty much 100%
Okay.
funded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have Resolution 14-107, a resolution to appoint members to the West Fork Straight Creek Reservoir Interstate Authority. Do we have a motion to get it on the floor, and I'll explain.
So moved.
Motion to have a second.
Second.
Years ago, back in the late 80s, when Portland and Franklin, Kentucky were looking at building a reservoir for both of us to get water from, there was an authority formed between City of Franklin and City of Portland, and it was approved by the state legislature of Kentucky and the state of Tennessee. These authorities in the state of Tennessee are what they call a sunset clause, where they're looked at every 5 years through the state legislature. We have been able to keep it going, but this year they said that either we need to get it active or they're going to do away with our charter for this. And we have met with Franklin, Kentucky. They're interested also in getting this committee back activated because we both get our water from Drakes Creek, and it would be of some benefit for us to still keep this authority in place. And according to the rules of the authority, the mayor of each city serves on there, a council person from each council serves on there, industrial member serves on there, and then you have 2 people from the county. So I'm asking that we approve, and it's passed to be done by resolution, that Mayor Ken Wilbur, Councilman Luther Bratton, Industrial Board Member Larry Rigsby be appointed to serve on this meeting, and we plan on having a meeting in the month of September to get this back going. I know I said a lot quickly. Does anybody have any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next we have Resolution 14-108. It's a resolution following up with the budget. It's a resolution authorizing increase of residential garbage collection fees and to be the amount of $18 per month per residential household, which would be an increase of $2.
So moved.
Have a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, I'll read.
This was part of our budget, was to raise the residential fees, the ones for commercial and for the people who are on a special rate would not be on tax relief, would not be raised. Comments or questions?
Also note this is effective July 1, so it'd be any of ours that start July 1, meaning as far as I think it's cycle 4 or 3? Cycle 4, which starts July 1 and goes through July 31st, billed, I think tomorrow, would be part of it, but that was what we had budgeted.
I've got a question. My question is this: we just had a discussion about picking up a lot of garbage in the city of Portland that's thrown out by, well, you might as well say it, landlords and so forth. Should we even be addressing this question before that question is answered and a policy is set?
You mean addressing this increase?
Yes, sir.
You've already addressed this increase when you passed the budget. We talked about it extensively.
We haven't passed this, though.
Well, we did as part of the budget. The budget that we passed included this, and that monies that you passed is basically what you're using to offset and take care of a fire hall. This helps subsidize and bring sanitation up to a function. So.
But we should have addressed the other first, and we didn't do it.
Well, we've talked about that extensively as well, but we haven't done anything.
If we don't do it and we put this first, we'll never solve the other.
Well, that's up to this body to have somebody present it and put it on an agenda. But we've talked about the increased fees for sanitation for well over a year. We've also talked about increased fees for debris that has been set out, and the council was unable to come to any kind of consensus on that so far. We've met several times talking about it. We actually decided to go out and go out and figure out privatizing sanitation in the city. We've looked at that and realized that those costs were fairly equivalent to what we were going to be doing and with the level of service. And so I really don't know what else to say except we approved the budget and voted unanimously on the budget, and this was included in the budget. So, I mean, you have the right to do whatever you think is best. That's kind of where we are
I
today.
just think if we vote for it and pass it tonight, the other's a moot question. We'll never solve it.
And I understand that you'll have to come up with about $190,000, I guess, to take out of the budget, out of the general fund.
I think
Okay.
that what we discussed during the Public Works Committee meeting
is more of a fine tuning of the policy, and I think that it will save us. I haven't quantified the numbers on the landlord cleanouts. It is something that we need to do and that we need to take care of. That I think is more of a fine tuning and a housekeeping measure. What I think that Mr. Callis was talking about was that a lot of the fire hall money is coming from this rate increase, that the city doesn't have to contribute no more to sanitation. But the landlord cleanouts will be a policy change and a cleanup that'll help sanitation to stand on its own for longer. So, and without the subsidies. And we'll do that in our committees, and we'll do it, bring it here, and the landlord cleanouts will be a fine tuning of our already good policy.
Well, I hope you're right, and I hope we fine tune it, because if we don't solve that question, it's gonna go on forever. I'm gonna reluctantly vote for this because I did vote for it during the
Well,
budget hearing.
I think in committee was nice. So Thomas, let's have something pretty solid at the next committee meeting.
I think that question needs to be
It does.
answered, and it needs to be addressed, though.
It does, and the way it's put out and so forth, and it's just, it's getting to be an issue.
And I agree with you, Steve. It's out of hand in our community. And we have found that we feel like there are people in the county that are dumping on the city of Portland now, and we are picking up. And not only when you see a large amount of debris in someone's yard, it fills up a trash truck, fills up a dumpster, fills up a landfill, and we pay for all those fees to dump that. So I agree with you. We need to figure out a way to handle that.
This started out originally as more than a $3 request, right?
It did.
About $4.
It was $4 last year. It was $3 proposed in the budget, and y'all accepted $2.
And actually, we got down from 3 to 2 because of Steve. Steve, you had some concerns.
I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna reluctantly vote for it, but I think we finally do agree that something needs to be done about this other issue.
And I'm willing to support Public Works. I know you serve on Public Works. Mr. Bratton serves on Public Works, and I'm sure y'all are well capable of coming up with some type of policy for us with the help of the director, and I'd be glad to support you on it.
Yeah, I'll speak to that too. I'm on board, so let's just get something worked up out of Public Works and we'll go from there.
Very good. Does anyone else have any comments on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay. Have one no. All right, next we have resolution 14-109. It's a resolution authorizing to assign fund balance for amounts not spent during fiscal year 2014. Have a motion to get it on the floor.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second. Mr. Yeager, would you?
Yeah, we can actually be committed if we done it before the end of the year, or we can do a signed fund balance. Signed fund balance you can do after the year, it's saying. And specifically, we had 3 things here. 2 of them are paving, where we didn't get all the paving done that we had budgeted last year. We want to roll that money in the fund balance as assigned so that we can use it. Now we will have to come back and appropriate it because we didn't put it in the budget because it was in last year's budget. But we want to put it in the assigned fund balance as opposed to the unassigned, so that we're earmarking it for that stormwater project and the additional paving that didn't get complete by June 30th. So totals $190,660. So all you're doing is saying, when we finish the audit and look at the unassigned fund balance, this won't be in it. It'll be considered assigned monies that we're wanting to use. It still means you have to appropriate it, though. It's just earmarking.
Any other comments or questions?
And I appreciate that because that gets lost sometimes.
It does.
We've had a tendency over the years to be for something, and then at the time we're ready to do it, to be against it, and that's unfortunate. So I'm glad that we're going this route with it.
Amen.
Yeah, what we're looking at is, I think we're going to come in favorable on the unassigned fund balance of what we projected. This, if we didn't assign this, it would really look a lot more favorable, and we might have a tendency to look at something that we didn't need to with these items need to be continued and finished.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next have resolution 14-110, a resolution of the governing body of the city of Portland authorized issuance, sale, and payment of interest bearing enterprise fund capital notes. This is where we're doing some refinancing. To have a motion, get it on the floor.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
I'll let Mr. Yeager.
Yeah, this is actually the final of the 3-year of a 9-year note. We do them in 3-year with 2 renewal 3-year periods. This is the final one on the project when we did the water line and sewer extensions for, I guess, Gateview School out in 52 West. I think I had in here, of course, it's $308,000, and the interest rate was 2.35. Actually, I've received a bid after this of 2%, so it will not exceed 2.35.
Do you remember, do you, you may not have it in front of you, I was curious what the first installment interest rate was when we first began this process.
Well, we're renewing it, the last one was 4. The one prior to that, I think, was 4.8, something, I can't remember right offhand.
You know, this is one of those, this is one of those times that it's in our favor because it's going down, but like you said earlier, if we're not careful, we're rolling the dice the other way, and we could go from 2.5 to 6 overnight, so, but at least it's in our favor this time.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next we'll go to our add-on. The first one is 14-111. It's a resolution in support of a grant application to Tennessee Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division for grant funding amount of $125,000 for the appraisal, review, and purchase of property in a runway safety area of the Portland Municipal Airport. Now, a motion to get on the floor, and I'll explain.
So moved.
Second.
In this year's budget, we actually had monies, actually about $1 million for some property acquisitions. And Doug has informed us we actually, he has an offer on one, and in order to get it going through the proper process through the state, 'cause it takes quite a while once you start, about 6 months to do this. He has one ready to go, and so he would like to go ahead and get this approved tonight in order to make that application for that.
You might also note this was one of the more critical pieces than all the ones he was looking at in the flight path.
Right, it has
So that was why.
trees on it, different things like that, so it is in the budget.
Yeah, there was actually $1.5 million that was appropriated in the budget for this particular grant, on the 95.5.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, add-on 14-112 is a resolution to approve the professional appraisal services of Fergus and Associates and Robin Kitchen for the appraisal property to be purchased for the public disaster drainage project. We have property, we've got $1 million disaster grant for drainage on the north side of town, and we're having to purchase some property, but through the Federal Acquisition Act, we have to get these appraisals done in a certain manner and so forth, and so we need to get this resolution approved in order for all that to become final and so forth.
So moved.
And we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any other comments or questions? And that project is starting to pick up speed. We're getting through all the paperwork, so you'll be hearing more about it in the next few months. It's going to be very good for the city of Portland. It's not only going to help that area, but it's going to help a lot of different areas also. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next, Mr. Bratton, we had the one we was going to add on to 14-113. Is for a water adjustment for Mr. Cole. And do you want to go ahead and handle it? Or?
You can.
Okay. Chris, do you have that amount? I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and, through Public Works, go ahead and come up. We had a request for water adjustment for a leak, and we're going to do it for resolution 14-113. Do we have a motion to get it on the floor?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Christie, I know you had time to do the amounts and so forth.
Yeah, the adjustment request is for $3,424.19. And the customer would be paying $312.91.
Property is located at 6215 Lake Springs Road.
What in the world happened? It's another one of those 3/4 of a mile long
Golly.
lines we got out in Robertson County.
I know there was a lot of discussion on that tonight. That's something we're trying to figure out how to get, of course, newly they can't be installed now, but how to do the old ones. And of course, our policy that, anything above 2,000 has to come to this board for approval for any kind of adjustments. We can do up to 1,000 and 2,000, but this needs to come to the board for approval. And this is basically the way we've been doing the adjustments. But there was quite a bit of discussion in Public Works tonight about looking at this policy, especially on the lost services, which Public Works will be doing.
So the original bill is how much, Chris? I'm sorry.
The original was $3,427.96. Oh, wait a minute. $3,727.96.
And the amount it's being asked to be reduced to is how much?
$3,424.
No, 312. Be
I'm doing quick
reduced to
math.
312. Is that what
Yeah,
you're
so
asking?
the-
Yeah, what the gentleman would be paying is $312.91.
Now I'm just gonna ask a question there. If, let's just say that the gentleman had an $1,800 bill, policy would reflect that we would cut it in half,
No.
12-month average,
12
including
month.
the leak.
including the leak,
Mhm.
which could, I'm just gonna throw this, I'm gonna put you on the bus, and I know you wouldn't plan on being on the bus, but let's just say the guy had a $60 a month average water bill. So 60 times 11, then plus the
Right,
3,700.
right.
And I'm just doing this, so excuse me, because I'm just gonna add this in real quick. And then you would divide that by 12.
You divide it by 12 and take the normal usage off.
And then take the normal usage
Your
off.
average usage.
And that's how you
Gives the
got, and that's how
difference.
you got to this.
Right, when you get the average, you take it off that total usage.
Okay. And you would have done that if the guy's bill was $1,800, $1,000,
Right.
or $20,000.
We give you the numbers based on the resolution that was passed.
See what I'm saying? And so this is just from me and for the benefit of you and your efforts and work and the benefit of the council. It would be encouraging, I think, to everybody. We just simply give that policy. She's well able to handle all of these needs and to correct those situations accordingly, and they shouldn't even come before Public Works or from the council. And that's just simply my opinion, and that could be handled without anybody's interference, like the policy, whether they was a $3,700 bill or a $900 bills, so to speak. Just a suggestion. Okay.
It's something Public Works to take under advisement. All right, any other comments or questions?
We about to adjourn?
We got one item.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I have one comment that I want to make before we
We got to
adjourn.
vote on this. We haven't voted on this yet.
Beg pardon?
We got to vote on this too.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry.
Any other comments or questions for Christie?
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Mr. McDowell, you want to talk about the city?
Yes, sir. We, part of our committee discusses technology and things that the city can use to improve its functionality. One of the things that we brought up in the committee earlier was that we would like to get television monitors for this room, so when instead of using the overhead projector, there's a way that a person that comes in to present to us can use, or the city recorder or anyone in this room can actually send from their computer device straight to those monitors and be seen. And
Well, y'all
just
want us
wanted to just throw it out here and get everybody to.
Get Chris to get a price and come to the next, try to have a legislative committee, then the council can approve.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay. So we'll try to get that, which will be not this Monday, but next Monday.
Yeah. And one of the things, and they would
We
be
were
helpful.
talking about one for each side too.
Yeah, it would be helpful that the audience, all the council members, during budget time, during zoning times, we see the maps, we see the numbers, everybody's on the same page. When somebody comes in and does a demonstration, they come in, simply wirelessly log on and get into the system, and they put everything up, and we do away with the roll-around card and the projector and all that kind of stuff.
All right.
There was one question I had, because we had talked about this previously, is supplying laptops for all members here so that you could view it on laptop and then have one screen to project for the public. Now, that would probably
We
be a
can do
little bit
iPads,
costly.
but it would be
Yeah,
cheaper.
not everybody can use those devices all the time, so
I'll
that's
tell you what,
just
you
a
want us to get a
suggestion.
price as a separate item on that also?
Yeah, sure.
It'd be optional. I know you're talking about the old man over here, but I'll learn.
I'm
I'll
talking
try.
about
You can teach me, Mike.
All right, we'll try to have all that.
I mean, you walk around with a rotary in your pocket with a long cord, and I didn't know, so.
All right, we'll try to have that by the legislative finance meeting.
He's hard on you.
Anything else, Mr. McDonald?
No, sir, it's
All right, Luther, I think you.
Just real quickly, I should have mentioned this during the comments from the council. I attended a groundbreaking for Old Hickory Credit Union. I would like to announce that they broke ground. They plan to be open in January. I was real pleased, and maybe one of the reasons I'm bringing this up, that 2 local contractors actually received the bids. Hodges Group received a bid to build a facility, and Purdue Trucking is going to do the excavation. So I was glad to see them come to our community, but I was extremely glad that local contractors actually received those bids.
And you know, we talked a little over probably 2 years ago, possibly, and credit unions can offer a service sometimes that maybe that it could be a little more valuable to some of the workers. But
abstain from this conversation.
Yeah. but before the city of Portland, we talked with Old Hickory once before that we maybe could sign the employees up. They can do short-term loans. They can do car loans. They can do all that kind of stuff. We can have those things taken out of their checks. They can save up for Christmas, all that. And so whatever that may be, but I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to something at that end of town.
Yeah.
That's going to be nice.
It's very good, so.
I hear you say point of order.
Yeah, point of order.
Point of order.
Motion to adjourn.
When we have time,
Motion disapproved.
Drew wants to give us a lesson on banking. All right, does anyone else have anything? I do remind the council, we do need to go to executive session. I ask that we move back here as soon as we can. If nobody has an objection, we'll be adjourned.
Sheriff.